Good morning, everyone. My name is Ramandeep Kaur, and we are presenting assessment for mock hearing oral component for CSID 101, Group 112. This is an immigration detention review hearing for examination of Samantha. Uh, Jianmin Kang is the presiding member for the beginning of the meeting. Over to Jianmin.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. We are here today for the detention review hearing of Ms. Samantha Morales. Appearing for Ms. Morales is her regulated Canadian immigration consultant, Ms. Ramandeep Kaur Kalra, and Ms. Jianmin Kang. You may proceed with your examination.
Thank you, member. I will start with my opening statement. I am Ramandeep Kaur, authorized representative for Ms. Samantha Morales, who is before you today for her detention review under Section 58 of the Immigration and Refugee Protection Act. The minister's position is that Ms. Morales should remain detained because of her concerns under Section 51B, that she may not appear for examination, her admissibility hearing, or removal. With respect, we submit that these concerns are fully addressed through a credible release plan and that detention is no longer necessary. Ms. Morales is a citizen of Chile who has previously entered Canada on a seasonal work permit each time she respected Canadian laws, complied with her conditions, and returned to Chile at the end of her authorized stay. She has no history of overstaying, breaching conditions, or absconding. On this occasion, she arrived in Vancouver because her mother was admitted to hospital and she wanted to be present for the family medical emergency. Her mother lives in Toronto but was visiting her sister, Rosa Morales. And Miss Morales got sick during her visit. The travel to Vancouver is therefore explained easily, and it's not an attempt to evade CBS's scrutiny. Most importantly, Miss Morales has a strong and reliable bonds person, her aunt Rosa Morales. Rosa is a Canadian citizen who has lived in Vancouver for many years with her family. She has appeared before you today and testified that she is ready to provide a stable residence for Samantha in her home to post a financial bond, and she will be responsible to supervise Samantha from day to day, remind her of our appointments, will also report any non-compliance to CBSA, even though Samantha is a niece. Ms. Morales, I am going to ask you some questions about your travel to Canada, your past work permits, and your plans if you are released. Please listen carefully and answer the questions directly. If you do not know or don't remember anything, you can just say so.
Sure,
So,
thank
Ms.
you.
Janmin Kang, please take over the examination of Ms. Morales and start.
Thank you. Ms. Morales, can you please state your full name for the record?
Yes, my full name is Samantha Morales.
Where are you from?
I'm from Chile.
And how did you come to Canada?
I came to Canada by airplane from Chile at Vancouver International Airport.
Why did you travel to Canada on this occasion?
I traveled to Vancouver, Canada, because my mother was admitted to the hospital there, and I wanted to be with her during her medical emergency.
When did you get the message that your mother was sick?
I was informed about 6 months ago when she was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. Recently, I was told her condition has worsened and that she was now in the final stage. So I decided to travel as soon as possible to be with my mother.
And when did you book your air ticket? And who paid for the air ticket?
So I booked my air ticket shortly after learning that my mother's condition is critical. So the cost was covered with my own savings, although my Aunt Rosa helped me finalizing the booking.
Can you tell us what exactly happened to your mother?
So my mother has been diagnosed with ovarian cancer 6 months ago, and is now in the final stage. So she is in Vancouver General Hospital receiving her treatment.
You know, how is your mother's situation right now?
I haven't seen her yet because I am being detained. My aunt told me that she is very weak and undergoing treatment. The doctors are managing her pain, but the family has been told her prognosis is very poor.
And do you know what's your mother's status in Canada and where she usually live?
Yes, my mother has been a Canadian citizen since many years now, and she normally lives in Toronto, Ontario.
I see. Why is she in the hospital in Vancouver instead of Toronto?
So my mother was visiting her sister, who is my aunt, Rosa Morales, in Vancouver, and she got sick while during her visit, and she was admitted at Vancouver General Hospital because she was in Vancouver. So due to her condition, she still is in the Vancouver hospital. She can't leave the hospital right now.
We have received a letter from the hospital saying that your mother has been admitted to the hospital. Did you see that document?
Yes, during our meeting prior to hearing, I have seen it in the file.
Mhm. Has your mother been hospitalized before?
Yes, as I told you, she has been sick for around 6 months now. So she has been in and out of the hospital for tests, treatments over the last few months since her cancer diagnosis.
Okay. Miss Morales, I want you to clarify again, why did you choose to land in Vancouver instead of Toronto, where your mother lives?
So because my mother was admitted to Vancouver General Hospital, I wanted to see her as soon as I land and support her during her treatment. So I decided to land in Vancouver.
And what's your travel plan after Vancouver?
So my plan is to be with my mother during her treatment. If she stays in Vancouver, I want to stay with her in Vancouver. If she is discharged and she moves to Toronto, I want to be with her in Toronto because I want to spend some time with her.
Mhm. So to be clear, your intention to avoid is it your intention to avoid the CBSA in Toronto?
No, not at all. My only reason for flying to Vancouver was my mother's medical emergency. I have no intention of avoiding CBSA or hiding it from authorities.
Okay. Have you booked your return ticket?
No, I haven't because I wasn't sure about my mom's health condition. So I want to spend time with my mother as I'm told that she is at the final stage of her cancer. But I fully understand that I must leave Canada when required and I will comply with any removal order instructions from CBSA.
Do you have other family members in Canada who can support you?
Yes, I have my aunt, Rosa Morales, my mom's sister, my uncle, and cousins. They live in Toronto.
So where will you live if the member orders were released?
So presently, I intend to live with my aunt Rosa in Vancouver because my mother is in Vancouver hospital.
How will your aunt support and supervise you?
So she will provide me with housing. She will remind me of appointments, accompany me, ensure my compliance with CBSA.
How important is your family's support to you in Canada?
Very important. It gives me stability and accountability.
Okay. Tell me something about your family in Chile. How many family members do you have in Chile?
So in Chile, I have my husband, my child, my extended family, including my parents' relatives and husband's relatives. Most of my close family is settled in our hometown, and I stay very connected with them.
And how old is your child?
So I have one child, he's 10 years old, and he's currently in school in Chile.
How about your husband? What does your husband do for work in Chile?
So my husband works as a construction worker and he has a steady employment. He earns enough to support our family and provide a stable home.
Okay. Is your house in Chile owned or rented?
So we own our home in Chile since a few years now. It's been 10 years. It's in my husband's and my name. And we have been living, as I told you, since last 10 years.
Okay. How would you describe your life in Chile? For example, your work, your home, your community in Chile.
So I feel my life in Chile is pretty stable and rooted. We have our own house. My child attends school, and we are active in our community. I work as a childcare provider when I am there, and we are surrounded by supportive family and friends. Chile is my permanent home, and I plan to continue living there for a long time.
Good, thank you. So that's all my questions. I have my co-working RCIC, Ramandeep. She will ask you more questions. Thank you.
You are muted.
Thank you, Jiangmin. Is this Miss Samantha, is this your first time visit to Canada?
No, I have traveled here several times before.
What was your purpose of visit when you traveled to Canada before?
So, as my mother is living here for a very long time, so I just to meet my mother, my family, and spend time with them.
Your records show that you have come to Canada before on a working holiday visa. Is that true?
Yes, that's true. So, in the past, I came to Canada on a valid seasonal work permit. I worked as a farm worker during the authorized period, and I always respected the conditions of my visa. So, when my work permit expired, I returned home to Chile as per the requirements.
So you have worked in Canada while visiting your family. Can you explain why did you need to work during your short family visits?
So I applied for a proper work permit and I was legally allowed to work. So while here, I also took the opportunity to spend time with my family in Toronto. But I never worked without authorization. But this trip is very different. So I did not come here to work. I only came here to visit my mother and support her during her illness.
You've held seasonal work permits in the past. Can you explain what kind of work did you do?
So with the work permits I had in the past, I worked during harvest season. I was employed with a valid work permit as a farm worker, and I only worked in the position I was authorized for.
Did you comply with all the conditions of your previous work permits?
Yes, I always complied. I finished the work, and when my permit expired, I returned to Chile on time.
Did you ever overstay or work without authorization in Canada?
No, never. I only worked when I had valid authorization and I respected Canadian immigration laws.
Ms. Morales, why should the member believe that at this time you are not here to work?
Because my reason for traveling this time is completely different. I came because of my mother's medical emergency in Vancouver. I do not have a work permit. I have no intention to work this time or to seek work. So my focus is only on my mother and to spend time with her during her final stage of cancer.
In the evidence presented in WhatsApp chat, there was a conversation between you and your aunt about applying for permanent residence in Canada. CBSE suspects that you have a dual intent. Would you like to comment on that?
Oh, my aunt and I had a general discussion about immigrating to Canada over 5 months ago, and there was no follow-up conversation if you look at the chat. Nor did I pursue looking for any PR programs in Canada. So I have a family in Chile, I have a residential property and full-time job. I have no intention of moving Canada presently.
If the member imposes strict conditions, will you comply?
Of course, I will fully comply.
What would you do if CBSE or division require you to leave Canada?
I would leave Canada voluntarily as required, but I would like to see my mother before I leave.
What would you say to the member about your characters and intentions in Canada?
That I'm here to support my mother. I'm responsible and I'm committed to following every condition imposed. I have previously proven to returning to Chile within work permit validity, and I always worked with a valid work permit.
Can you tell the member what you will do if you are required to report to CBSA or attend a hearing?
I will attend every appointment and hearing. My Aunt Rosa will make sure I go and will accompany me if needed.
Who will you live with if you are released?
With my aunt Rosa Morales in Vancouver.
How do you feel about your aunt acting as your bondsperson?
I trust her completely. She's very responsible, and I know she will make sure I follow every step and condition imposed.
Finally, Ms. Morales, are you committed to respecting Canadian immigration laws?
Yes, absolutely. I'm committed to following all the rules.
Uh, this concludes the examination of Ms. Morales. So hereby, Vicky Thin will be submitting the closing statement for this meeting. Over to Vicky Thin.
Good morning, Madam Member. On behalf of Ms. Samantha Morales, I submit that there was no misrepresentation under Section 41A of IRPA, and that the removal order would just be unjust in light of facts and humanitarian circumstances. Ms. Morales entered Canada lawfully with a valid ETA to urgently visit her terminally ill mother. She was truthful, had a minimal luggage, and had strong family and professional ties to Chile. The evidence, medical records from medical doctor, a WhatsApp message, her flight itinerary, an affidavit from her aunt, and her history of lawful seasonal work all confirm her credibility and temporary intent. CBSE appears to have based their conclusion on assumptions drawn from a prior, non-binding conversation, not on evidence of immigration intent. The confiscation of her phone not only prevented her from verifying her story, it also significantly impacted procedural fairness. Even if confusion arose during questioning, it must be understood in the context of grief, emotional distress, and language barriers. The humanitarian and compassionate factors here are compelling. Her mother is in ICU at Vancouver General Hospital getting treatment for final cancer stage. Until today, she is not able to visit her. If board is satisfied that detention is no longer necessary, Ms. Morales is willing to comply with strict conditions of release. She has a reliable aunt in Vancouver who can act as a guarantor and ensure she abides by all conditions. Ms. Morales is prepared to. She is prepared to reside at her aunt's address, report regularly to CBSA, surrender her passport and travel documents, and abide by any further terms the board imposes. She has proven a history of compliance with Canadian immigration rules, having previously worked seasonally and always departed on time. This demonstrates that she can and will respect any release conditions set by the board. Therefore, I respectfully ask the board to reject the misrepresentation allegation under Section 41A, recognize her intent as temporary and humanitarian in nature, and consider the significant humanitarian and compassionate factors which make a removal order both unjust and disproportionate. Thank you for your time and consideration. I'm happy to respond to any questions now.
Thank you, everyone, for your contribution. We will wait for members' decision for the hearing, and therefore the meeting is concluded. We hereby submit assessment for oral component. Thank you.
Thank you very much.